everybody. Welcome to another beautiful week of Shit Your Mama Should Have Taught You. I will be hosting today. My name is Alex. I have the beautiful Simone, Remel, as you all know. And today we have a very good friend of mine, a brother from Texas who I can rely on for anything. A fellow girl dad, a HBCU attendee at one point. He studied communications. Mr. Jay Davis, what's going on, my dude?
Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody feeling this morning?
Good,
Wonderful.
good. So real quick, Simone is also in Houston right now, Jay.
Simone, you're good people. That's instant.
I wasn't supposed to be, but yeah, here I am.
I think a lot of people feel that way. I think a lot of people feel that way about Houston. They're not supposed to be there, but they're there.
This guy.
So
big mug of coffee.
Hey, look. Everybody needs coffee in a whiskey cup.
Oh yeah, there you go.
6:30.
Are you doing free endorsements? Is that what that is?
I know, right?
Working on it. Hey, man, you put free ones out there eventually. So one of the things I wanted to talk about this week, and with 4th of July just passing and Juneteenth, and the movement that has been going on the last few years, the question I want to pose for you guys is, can the sins of America ever be forgiven? From the history with slavery in the United States, from the Trail of Tears to the Tulsa Massacre, and every single situation in between that I'm not trying to forget about, but there's so many. We can list them for an hour long and not discuss them. But Jay, since you were an attendee of an HBCU, I kind of wanted to get your theory on. I want to have a black man's thoughts on this subject. So let's just get going. And what do you think?
Well, I thought about the actual subject line, and it was really interesting to me because, as you know, we've written together. I'm a writer. Words matter to me. And so I thought about the sins of America. Well, the thing about sin is like a transgression against divine law. Okay. So I don't think it's ever up to us to forgive, but let's say in this particular case, we can handle it on our level. We can work on forgiving the transgressions of America. Well, there's got to be two things present. There's got to be the party who's interested in forgiving and the party who's interested in being forgiven. And to be honest with you, in America, neither one of those parties exists. I'm on this. I'm on the side where I would be the party that would be interested in forgiving. And all my Christian teachings, I have no interest in forgiving America. None whatsoever. And I think equally as much, I'll find as many people who have no interest in being forgiven. In their eyes, they see it as, oh, this is something my ancestors did. I didn't do this, erasing the fact that they're still benefiting from the system that was set up by their ancestors. So the short answer is no. I know the show's not interesting if you just give short answers.
Right,
but the short answer is
that'll
no.
be a wrap for today.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us.
Great show. Thank you guys.
To our ultra short podcast.
It's great seeing you guys.
Okay, so let me ask you this then.
Yes.
Now, as a white man who's, as far as I know, and all the research I did about my own ancestry, someone like myself has no bloodlines, again, 99% sure, that trace back to slavery in America. From what I understand, my grandmother, I know this, my grandmother on my mother's side came over from Scotland in the early 1900s, and my father's grandfather came over from Italy in, I want to say like 1880, somewhere around that time into New York City, Ellis Island. So for someone like myself, who has no bloodline at all or history with slavery and purchasing slaves and that whole thing, and I'm someone who wants to see, hopefully us come together as one. What can I do to help bring everyone together? As you said, you be more interested on the forgiving part. Some people don't want to forgive, and I understand America. We're not so forgiving. America is a huge undertaking. It's more about forgiving the history, or what we can do to move forward from it, not forgetting about it, of course, but move forward where we can become more one people. And I doubt that will ever happen, because everyone has their own ideas of what America can be, and that's one of the things that actually does make this a great place. But for someone like me, what can I do, in your eyes, Jay and Simone, Remel, to make this more of the United States more of a unit instead of little sects?
What y'all can stop doing, in my opinion, is pushing the fact that they don't want to teach critical race theory in schools because they want to forget the past. You can't be forgiven if you don't want to acknowledge the past.
It's so funny. I actually have that up right now, critical race theory, in one of the windows I have open. So it's fun.
I mean, just how can you ask, how can we think about forgiving America when America wants to hide what's happened? They're basically saying, what do we need to be forgiven for?
Yeah. And, again, it goes back to the language you used to start off the show, being forgiven of the sins. Well, one of the, we all know this from church, one of the major things about forgiveness is confessing your sins, repenting of your sins, being repentant of those sins. And that major component is missing. There's no repentance. There's no confession of sin. There's no, an interesting parallel. I've always thought this was so hypocritical of America, but it's the land we live in. During the 80s and 90s, there was a huge uproar and hubbub about South Africa's apartheid. When Nelson Mandela was released from prison, when Nelson Mandela was eventually installed as the president there in South Africa, one of the things that went on was, I can't remember the exact name of the process, but it was sort of a confessional. So all these people who had benefited from apartheid, all these people who made Black South Africans suffer under the system of apartheid, came forward in this tribunal sort of thing, and they confessed the things they had done. And then they were granted forgiveness. And then the country just went on about its business. Can you imagine in America?
It will be ongoing, honey.
It's crazy you bring that up, because one of the things I was thinking of was Germany.
Yes.
How they have, for a lack of a better word, have forgiven their past. Do you think like America is trying to do that with removal of Confederate statues, and trying to go, hey, we're making strides? I mean, it's not like we're not gonna hit it with a hammer all at once. We're gonna hit a home run. We're just gonna hit a few singles, maybe bunt, and get people around the base slowly but surely, and eventually play the long game. Where I think where Germany said, no, we're doing this right now. We're taking care of this. Do you think if America came out and swung at this issue with the bat and was like, look, we know we fucked up. We're our ancestors fucked up, and here we are trying to make amends. What can we do? Do you think that would really work?
I really don't know if it'll work, because it's like somebody looking you in your face and being like, I apologize, and then walking away, and then like basically like still talking shit after you leave. It's like, if it's not genuine, does it really matter? I mean, and then let's not even go into like reparations that have been given to so many other ethnicities. But I feel like with certain things, it's like, oh, let's take down the Confederate flag. Is that good enough? Are you happy now? Like, we took down all Confederate flags, and it's like, okay, thank you, but you're still in the streets talking about get them niggers back, go back to where you came from. So it's like, it's kind of like, can you just shut up already? Like, we've done what we need to do.
Real quick sidebar. That whole "go back to where you come from" argument is the dumbest argument.
Amen.
Dumbest
Right.
thing to
Like,
say.
back at you. Go back to where you came from.
Where am I? Where, Philly? I'm not going back to Philly.
Imagine if you used that argument in 1776 when colonists were like, yo, I do not really get down with this whole taxation without representation. Go back to where you come from. Oh,
I'm building the boat.
Yeah.
No, well, speaking of reparations, and what are your thoughts on it? I know like Germany has done it and other countries have done it. Do you think if the United States came out and gave reparations to African Americans, do you think that would heal that wound?
No.
Okay.
Again, good evening. That was a short answer. No.
Go ahead, Jay.
I was just gonna say, reparations in the way that we're traditionally discussing it, like, yo, you cut me a check for the pain of my ancestors. No. I mean, even on his face, when I say it like that, you see how superficial that sounds. You can't just cut people a check for pain. You just can't do it. I mean, it happens all the time in the legal system, but does it really erase the pain? Now, I think what would be a good start is if we took the Native American route. Okay, so you want to find some way to financially give me financial remunerations for what my pain and suffering has wrought. Okay, so from now on, I'm a tax-free citizen.
Okay.
Amen.
That's
From now
like
on, I'm a tax-free citizen.
Mhm.
That seems fair.
Okay.
You took my ancestors' life, so.
And my descendants.
And my descendants.
They become tax-free citizens as well.
So that's actually a brilliant thing. So I'm just curious, how do you think that would work for someone like in my situation in a racial marriage? Would my wife be tax-free and then I would pay tax? Would my kids be 50% taxed?
Whoa, now that's
the way they do it with Native Americans is, depending on what percentage of Native American, what's the word I'm looking for? But it depends on the percentage that you have, but you do get like a certain amount depending on the percentage.
So basically how much blood you, for lack of a better, the bloodline percentage you have inside you as Native American. So if you're 5% Native American, okay.
Right, basically. I mean, it's a start. It'd have to be something that, would take some time to figure out how to get it right. But not only that, but it's like you can give us back the city you burned down. You can start there as well. They have reservations, like Native Americans have reservations that they live on. And well, how about that? Can we get 1, 2, maybe?
I would take any major American city with the exception of Philadelphia.
Hey, wait a minute. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Jay,
fired.
by the way, this is a whole Philly panel.
Not me.
Oh,
okay, just Alex's neighborhood.
Well, he's wrong for that.
Look,
no,
we may fight each other in Philly, but when it comes to it, we'll all back each other, and then once we beat each other, we'll go back to beating each other up.
Exactly. That's the truth.
So
that sounds very American, actually.
You know, I love the idea of the taxes. I think that's a beautiful thing because one of my things with reparations, I definitely think America should do them. But my thing is, it's going to be so hard because you have where do you draw the line? You know, it's like let's for conversation's sake, you're giving $1 million to every family whose descendant was part of slavery. Now let's say Jay, okay, you get
Yes.
$1 million. Remel, you get $1 million, right? But Jay, you have 3 other siblings. Remel, you have 10 other siblings. Does your 10 siblings all get $1 million and Jay's siblings also get $1 million? Because if you put the family household together, you would have Jay plus his 4 be 5 million, and Remel plus her 10, that'd be 11 million to the family. So why does one family get more money than the other family? So I think there's a lot of
That
issues.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, but
I
you
don't
know
think
what
that
though?
would matter because all of us are descendants of slaves.
Right,
So
I
I don't
understand
think
that, but you
that
don't
would
think
matter.
you don't think someone will go, well, wait a minute. My grandma or my grandparents were slaves just as much as their grandparents were slaves. How come they're getting 11 million and my family's getting 5 million? Are their families worth more? Or I mean, there's that's the only issue I see with doing any reparations. I think there's got to be something done. Like right now, it actually came out about 3 months ago. What California doing? There's a stretch of beachland in SoCal that was seized from a black family 75 years ago, and is set to be returned to its descendant. It's a land in Manhattan Beach, was taken in 1912. The land right now set to be back to the family is worth millions upon millions of beachfront SoCal land.
I read about
You know,
that.
and I believe also there are some Indian tribes that are getting their land back, that are giving their land back. I think that's a beautiful thing to do. So look, you know, it's not going to happen overnight, but personally, I would love to see the United States go, you know what we're doing with this house, we need to do that more. We need to rebuild Tulsa. You know, we need to do things for the Black community, go extra, say, you know, we know our ancestors fucked up, you know, but as a community, we take so many things from the African American community, white culture, and kind of make it our own because we don't have the creativity that a lot of African Americans do when it comes to arts, everything like that. We just don't have it. So we take it and kind of make it our own. A way for us in the United States to say, you know what, we're sorry, is to give back what we've taken. It's a start.
It's a start. And financially, I definitely think it's doable when you think about people that are worth, you know, $50 billion. Like you can literally give every person in America $1 million and you can still be a billionaire yourself. It's very possible. Like, I'm not gonna say there's endless amounts of money out there, but there's endless amounts of money out there. So like financially, it's possible. It's just like, how would it be done? But it's still not going to, like, you can give every African American that has more than 10% of African American blood in their system $1 million. But if we're still being treated the same, are we actually ever going to be able to get to a place that we can forgive? Not if the people that we're seeing still are treating us and doing things, you know, still racially profiling and doing everything that is happening now. Like, we might feel a little bit better about it. We might be more financially secure. We might be able to, you know, have things that we've never had in our entire lives because we're making smart business decisions with the money that we're given. But are you actually forgiven? It's like a thank you, but I'm not sure I can genuinely forgive you, because is this genuinely coming from a place where we want our sins to be forgiven?
And I couldn't agree with that point more. I think that before we even get to the point of reparations, I think reparations we're rushing that talk. because Alex, like you're saying in your example, if Jason gets $1 million, hey, that's great. The next day I could be killed by a police officer. What's more important to me is my life. The $1 million sounds great, but as an example, okay, yes, I'm from Texas. I've lived in the South half my life. Half my life I lived in California. In 1702, 1704, something like that, the slave patrols started in the Virginia colonies. Okay, the reason I mention that is because those same slave patrols became the first departments of police in the South. Those institutions, from where they formed, their roots still exist. So the reason I mention it is because there hasn't been a significant enough amount of change with those Southern police departments. I know it's all over, but specifically, I'm focusing on the South. There hasn't been enough change in those departments. As an example, Alex, you know me. You know I'm a straight-laced guy. You know that I'm the square you don't bring to the party where wild things are going on. I don't smoke. I don't drink, yada, yada. I've spent time in jail on no charge. I was picked up off the street, and I spent 2 nights in a New Orleans parish jail. The system has to change. Reparations won't, the $1 million I would have had in the bank at that time would not have done anything for me. Mm-hmm. So I need systematic change first before I can talk about reparations. And then once I get that $1 million, they're not going to screw me out of it. I'll be safe and secure in my reparations, and it will feel like more of an apology, an earnest apology, than just cutting me a check and going on about your business.
Amen.
So do you think, basically, I've heard a very good theory about, America right now. We're basically going through our adolescence. We're going through our threes. The terrible twos
right.
we just passed are in the middle of our threes. Who knows what this country is going to be when when it's a teenager. And all these conversations that are happening right now may come to fruition. And, in those times. And you bring up a great point, Jay. As soon as you start talking about the slave patrol, I was like, oh shit, that's right. That's where the police formed. And that's, it kind of, it gave me, I forgot about that, and it just, clicked a little more understanding of like, oh shit, yeah, that's right. So spending majority time in your South policing is completely different than it is in the inner city of Philly. So you think that, the whole system basically has to be torn down and rebuilt, is what you're kind of insinuating.
Yeah, even if it's a piece by piece thing, I completely understand you're not going to just do a hard reboot on America. But even if it's a piece by piece thing, and this year we're going to focus on, Wall Street. This year we're going to focus on whatever the case may be. It's got to be rebuilt.
Mm-hmm. And, yeah, I agree. One of the reasons. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Alex.
No, I was going to say that one of the reasons I wanted to have this conversation is because, what we talked about with the LGBTQ, the generations that are coming up, they're looking at life a lot differently. Yes, you still have your sex of, I only want to be around white people. I want to be around brown people. I want to be black. But there are a lot of people, even, for example, in the hip hop industry, you're seeing more white people coming up and going, look, this is what I listen to. This is what I vibe to. These are my friends. We're more coming together. And I think the generations behind us, this is a conversation that our generation is starting, and what can we do? And I think the ones coming behind us are, okay, they started. What are we going to do to grab hold of what they started and inject some steroids into it? Let's make this blow up. Let's make this huge. Let's make this something very powerful that it can't help but take place and be noticed, because we're trying to make this a better place for everybody.
I like your positive attitude, Alex.
Hey man, I've had such a negative life, a bunch of bullshit. I try to be optimistic about everything. I try to find a little silver lining in everything. And with my life as a father of two Black girls, I got to think about that. I got to think about what I can do as a white man to help my little Black girls. What I can do as a white man to help my Black friends. Here's a little something crazy. When Aisha and I got married, and it's crazy because her crew was on one side, my crew was on one side. It wasn't meant to be segregated, but it was kind of white sat with white, Black sat with Black, and everybody mingled and talked. But we did this little ceremony in the middle of the reception where I was initiated into her sorority sister circle. We do this thing, we get married, right? And at the end of it, it was one of the girls go, "So we want you to know you are now our husband." And I looked around and I saw 14 Black women. I was like, "Our husband? What the fuck did I just marry?"
You died and went to heaven,
dude.
You got your Black card.
Dude, man, look, and some of them were a lot of women. So it was like, I was like, oh my God. Now,
This guy.
right? So here's when I really it really clicked in the last couple of years when I don't know, I was thinking about what they were saying. The one woman was saying, "You're now our husband. You're now our husband." And what it made me realize is, yes, I am Aisha's husband. But what she was saying, I think, was a metaphor, was I am now a husband to Black women. My job is now is to help protect Black women. No matter what the situation is, try to protect Black women. And the more I think about my daughters, and Jay, your daughters, there's nothing I wouldn't do for your daughters that I wouldn't do for my daughters. My job is to protect them. Being a white man, my protection is on a different level than it would be for you, Jay. Mainly because of my skin color. So I'm looking at this whole bigger picture of, what can I do on a daily basis to help our daughters have a better country to live in? What can I do to make everything, more cohesive? What can I do to make their future better? And that's one of the reasons I want to have this conversation, because I'm not naive. I know this shit's not going to happen in my lifetime, but if it can make a step forward, if we can progress with this and make it a little better for them, I've done my job. Not just to make it better for my daughters, make it better for your daughters, Jay. Make it better for your children, Simone. And all the kids that go to school with our kids, whether they're Black, brown, Asian, Native American, anyone that is considered a person of color. Me as a white man married to a Black woman to have two Black children, that's my job.
And I think I can say that, Alex, when I see you, I don't see color. I'm just playing. I just wanted to say that one time.
Dude, here's the funny part.
And it feels so weird saying it.
It's ridiculous.
It's funny you say that, because there's a joke about that. It was Stephen Colbert. He goes, because he's colorblind. And he used to say, I don't see color because I'm colorblind. And I made a joke with that with someone someday. They're like, that means you're insensitive to Black people. I was like, well, hold on, slow your roll. It's just a joke. I'm trying to say that, I don't see a Black person. I see a person. I don't see a brown person. I see a person. But, someone's saying, well, that just means you're insensitive to the struggles of our past. It's not funny, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, point taken. I understand what you're saying. But Jay, I know you always call me the white guy. Hey, Wedo.
So first off, I've never called you Wedo. I have no idea what that means. But secondly, no. So I don't take the attitude of, I don't see your color. What I take the attitude of is I don't see you as different from my tribe. So the things that you're saying in regards to you would do for my daughters, just like you would do for your daughters, I know that comes from a sincere and honest place in your heart. And it's the honest truth, because you haven't just said, you've proved, you've done, your actions have spoken. And I think coming full circle, that brings us back to our original question. Can the sins of America ever be forgiven? Okay, let's change the no to a maybe. And the maybe is we've got to become a tribe. Now, Black people don't have as much control over that because, again, we're in the party that would wish to do the forgiving. But the party with power, the party with control in the White House, the Senate, that party has to come to the tribe. What can they do? The big question is, what can I do? You got to join the tribe. And all that means is every time you see a person, instead of making a snap judgment about them, is this guy a criminal? Is this woman gonna steal? You see them as a person. It's fine to see them as a Black person, as an Asian person, as a Native American person. It's fine to see their distinguishing skin color, all those good things. But what you can't see is the content of their character. And what should happen is they receive the benefit of the doubt first and foremost because they're a member of the tribe. Let them prove to you that they don't need to be a member of your tribe before you make that snap decision. This person can't be included because of XYZ that I can see. That's what you can do. That's what anyone can do. If that's the question they're asking today, just become a member of the tribe. May not be easy. I'm not going to promise you can walk up into Lamert Park and just run up in the middle of the drum circle and be like, yeah, baby, I'm with you. Hold on. Just go ahead and sit on the outside for the first couple of Sundays.
You sounded very Caucasian right there, Jason.
Hey, well,
yeah, man, I'm with you. Let's go, guys.
I'm working on my voiceover. But yeah, just join the tribe. That's essentially what it is. You don't let anybody mess with your family. Yes or no? Right. What if everyone's your family?
Yeah.
So this book, The Sins of America, The Moral and Spiritual Decay of a Once Great Nation by William G. McCullers. In the book, he states, now more than ever, this nation needs to take a deep and spiritual look from the individual level to the highest levels of leadership of our government. So just piggybacking on what you were just saying, Jay, saying you can change it to a maybe if people join the tribe. I still see people as going to be continually greedy, envious, wrath, sloth, gluttony, lust, and pride, and which is going to prevent us from people joining the tribe, because there's going to be fear. If I join the tribe, then that means I have to share this and this and that. And of course, it's more about protection than anything, but people are still going to be greedy. And just like Alex was saying, if it came to any reparations, there would be a concern there. I just still don't see it happening in the next 100 years. I don't see how we can forgive sins in the next 100 years, because people have to be morally adept to even want to join the tribe. And right now we're not there.
Yeah. And one of the things, I think when we get cut deep, it takes the time for the cut to heal, and then you have a scar. And I think right now with America, that major cut is still in the healing part. And America, once it's healed that scar and you have that scar, don't hide the scar. Germany doesn't hide, doesn't run from its past. it knows its past, its acceptance of its past. But now they've moved forward. And I truly hope, there comes to a point where majority of the people that are in power recognize, say, you know what, we fucked up. Our ancestors fucked up. The people that founded this country fucked up. Slavery was prevalent all throughout the world, and it's still going on to this day in Africa and in other countries. And
Just
even
last year, 78 million people didn't say they fucked up.
Say that again.
Just last year, 70 some million people didn't agree that they fucked up.
Wait, what do you mean? Talk about that a little more.
During the voting, they didn't agree. And some of them still don't agree that they fucked up. That, there's a lot of, they don't agree that they fucked up. So it's going to take a long time when you've got that many people saying, no, we didn't do anything wrong. And no, we think this is cool the way things are. Everything's cool. Let's just keep killing Black people in the streets. They're doing bull crap. Let's just go ahead and, knock them on off. Long time.
Yeah, but
I be a pessimist, but a long time.
No, you're right. You're right. But there has to come a point where the people in power go, okay, it's yeah. Majority of people may think, my ancestors did okay. They did what they had to do, and that's what was going on at that time, and everybody was in the slavery. So what's different? And blah blah blah. I don't know, man. I think that there's got to be a point where we go, enough is enough. It's a fucked up situation. This generation has inherited a lot of shit from ancestors, and we can't. I can't answer for them. I can't answer for things my great grandfather did. I can't. All I can do is go, okay, you know what? I'm sorry for shit that he did to your people. What can I do to help heal the wrongs that person did? A person that I have a bloodline from, that I don't know, that I don't agree with. But my job at this moment is to heal the cut that this person has put on you, mentally and physically. I didn't do it, but I want to help heal it. What can I do?
I feel like the danger in some of the steps that we're taking now. If you've ever played Jenga, any skillful Jenga player knows those middle blocks, not the two outside ones, but the middle blocks. That's kind of like the backbone structure of the Jenga tower. And as long as you can manage not to pull those out, you could build a pretty sizable tower. It's just going to be really tipsy. I think what we're doing right now, the danger is we're taking a Jenga block from the bottom. Like, okay, Juneteenth was a thing. Snatch it, put it at the top of the Jenga tower. Now it's a national holiday. And what's gonna keep happening with things like that, if we keep snatching it from the bottom and putting it on top, no real foundational structure or thought to what it is we're building on top of where we've come from, the tower is going to fall. And in falling, we're going to see something both really disastrous, but also really beautiful, because you now get a blank slate. I don't know what form that takes. I don't know how that happens. I don't even know if we're ready for that to happen. But I will give the encouraging word of, I'm never going to say again that within 100 years I don't see. Because in my lifetime, a lot of things that I never thought I'd see have been proven. Never thought I'd see a Black president. Never. And I would have said, within 100 years, I don't think this country's gonna have a Black president. It's more symbolic, but it showed me that the things you think may not be possible can happen. Not that they will, but they can happen. So again, going back to the original question, it's still a maybe for me. It's a maybe.
You know, you said something really good. Oh, go ahead, Simone, Remel, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Alex, you yourself can only make changes. You can only reach the people. You can only touch the people that you can reach. So, you know, and that may be infectious, you know. I always feel like genuine acts of kindness and service, you know, it's contagious. You know, someone's nice to you, it's like you pay for the guy's coffee behind you and they're kind of like, hey, it was kind of dope, like I'll pay for the next person's coffee, like, you know. So you can only reach the people that you can reach, but even that will be influential in your small circle. The changes that we're talking about are going to come from the people that are way up here. And when those people that are making, you know, decisions for our country are themselves in their 80s, how, like, can you really change their minds about how they feel? So I feel like each individual, we play our part, continue to do what we do, but it's way up there. You know, the changes that we really need, it's so beyond us. And I get conflicted myself sometimes because I'm just like, what can I do for my own community? And sometimes I throw my hands in the air and I'm just kind of like, I don't know, like I can't worry about everybody else. And like, it's kind of where we kind of are. Like, I can't really worry about everyone else because I'm still trying to dig out the mud. It's like, I want to help you, but if I help you, am I going to drag myself down? But then you think like, if we help each other, can we do more? And I think that's kind of where, for me, where Black America is at right now, where it's like, is there a way we can help each other and dig out together, you know, instead of being like crabs in a barrel? But it's difficult. But I mean, don't let, you know, our thoughts of nope, never, not gonna happen. Don't let our like those thoughts discourage you from reaching the people that you can, because you never know who you're going to touch and who you're going to you know, affect. And you know, it might be somebody, you know. So don't ever stop the work of God, basically.
And let me just jump on real quick and say that my pessimistic attitude comes from the fact that I believe that the most powerful people in our country, if it doesn't benefit them, they will do everything within their power not to let it happen. Doesn't mean that we shouldn't strive to work together for the greater good. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is that we have to be realistic.
Everything, you know, I'm looking at baby steps. You know, and God, I hate to use this term, but you know, baby steps, you know, into a virus. You know, because if you think about a virus, it starts small and then it spreads. You know, and that's what I'm hoping this becomes. You know, the more the more white people, you know, help Black people live. You know, I don't know how I was trying to think, you know, a better way to play it, but you know, it's really like white people need to help Black people live their lives. You know, me and I'm saying that in a way that, you know, it's not just get out of the way. Let people enjoy themselves. We're all human.
Stop killing our Black sons.
Absolutely.
And daughters.
Absolutely.
And daughters.
Absolutely.
Yes, and daughters.
You know, and Jay, you know, you said something about, and I forget, so I'm not going to power. It was about America and, you know, where it's going to go and things you never saw. You know, I think America right now is very similar to the Roman Empire. And I don't think I don't think it would be a bad thing if America fell and it was rebuilt by the people that are here now. Because when it was built, it was all white people making those decisions, building what they saw America becoming, what their envision was. But you know what? Those people own slaves. How can you build a country on a sin? So if America fell, so be it. Roman Empire lasted what, 400, 500 years? It was rebuilt. What is wrong if that happens to America? Why would that be a bad thing if we woke up one day and America has fallen? And
As long as you had a passport to Toronto ahead of time, no, it's not a bad thing.
wait, why
But
Toronto?
I don't. I just picked
Wait,
where. Listen, man, you can only touch what you can reach. So
Is it because of your love for Drake you picked Toronto?
wow, that's a whole nother episode. But go ahead.
Wait, first of all, you know
That's
my
really
wife.
what's wrong with no. Go ahead.
Jay, you know Aisha, she can't stand the cold. Her ass isn't going to Toronto.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Can it?
So
She'll get on to Mexico before Toronto.
So this was really a good conversation. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean it's conversations we need to have. You know, it's like it's not. We know we're all not naive. We know it's not going. Most likely not going to happen in our lifetime, but it can start. And Jay, just like you said, I never thought I'd see a black president. We had one, and now we have a black woman as a vice president. That
with the potential to become president.
Which exactly what I was going to say. So you know, we don't know. Let's just stay. I'm staying optimistic. You know, because as a father of two black girls, I have to.
Mm-hmm.
I have to, because if I don't stay optimistic about the country that we live in, the country that my daughters are growing up in, the country that your daughters are growing up in, Simone, the country that your children are growing up in, you know, it's what's the point? I'm raising two beautiful young ladies in a country that is going to kick them to the side, kick them to the curb because of their skin color. Fuck that. Fuck that. I got to do what I need to do to make sure their future is better.
So
You know, if that means me kicking indoors and making people that are my skin color uncomfortable, so fucking be it.
So I have a question. Because when you said like basically just like restarting the country over, and this may kind of be going into another topic. Sorry guys, I have to ask this question though. Basically what I hear is we need another civil war. Do you think, let's just say, you know, do you think the North would win again?
Okay.
North, you know, because I'm saying like figuratively, not literally the North, but do you think that the North would win again?
Are we talking about the idealistic North and
yes,
we're okay.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone answer first? Because I feel
like my brain was thinking. I was like, my first thought was like, if there was a civil war, would it mirror the one from the past?
Because I'm just like what you said, basically starting over. That's gonna be brutal. And I'm like, I'm gonna take like a flight out the country, and I'll be back when y'all done. But fight hard.
But when y'all done. Well, California will be its own country by then. California will be like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Facts.
And Texas is trying to do it right now. So
Texas is always trying to do it. Anytime there's a Democratic president, Texas will always say, we have the right to secede. Yeah, what happened with that energy crisis a couple of months ago? Oh, yeah,
Right.
we still need America. So
Exactly.
but to answer your question, Simone, I'm going to say logistically, yes, the North wins again because the ideals that we've known or been educated in regards to what the North stood for. I'm putting that in huge air quotation marks because we know there's a lot of stuff going on. But the South's numbers have lessened ever so slightly, but the South's numbers have lessened. You can look at not electoral votes, but you can look at popular vote and see that the South's numbers have lessened.
Okay.
That's the best way I can put it. So better numbers, better resources in the North.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, I don't think the South would win it. But I also don't think it would be a North versus South type of fight.
Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, because it was just, who knows? I mean, who knows how it would happen? I don't think it'll.
We can table it. We can table it.
No, I was trying to. I know. I'm taking a long pause here. I'm like, I think that is a whole nother conversation because we can continue on that.
Yeah.
If you've ever been to Oregon or Utah, it's not North versus South anymore.
I don't know. I really don't know. It's an amazing question. I part of me wants to say a civil war could happen. I don't think it will happen. I think mainly because Americans, the families are spread out all over the place. It's like I'm in Florida. I'm in California. I have a family member in Florida, but I have family in Philly. Well, Florida's part of the South. Philly's North. I'm on the West. Who do we? I'm against the South. I'm fighting against the South, except for that household because that's my cousin. I think it would become more of an us versus them thing.
Yeah, I think it would be really tough to even conceptualize a civil war because honestly, liberals don't really F with guns, and the crazy conservatives are the ones who not only mess with guns, have multiple guns, but also are the ones who are licensed to get guns. So I probably wouldn't want to engage in a civil war.
Especially with people from Texas. All y'all have guns.
Multiple.
Wait, and pretty soon, Texas, you won't even need a license to openly carry.
This is correct. That's why I live in Pasadena.
You don't hold on. So you won't need a license to openly carry a gun, but you'll need a license to drive a car.
Yes. Yes. And if I'm correct, Simone, because I was breezing over that piece of legislature. That's inclusive of congressional buildings, right?
What?
I believe if I was reading it correctly, that particular stipulation she was mentioning, it's inclusive of governmental buildings as well in Texas. In Texas, not nationwide, but in Texas. So
y'all be wilding out here, man.
I don't know, man. Maybe it's just.
But the food is delicious.
But y'all can cook.
I never understood the need to carry a gun to a supermarket. I never understood. I'm like, well, what the hell do we need to carry a gun every single freaking place for?
Then
I mean,
you've never been in the meat section when the ribs are out. We
look,
got to settle it some kind of way.
Yeah, you know what, mate? You're right. I'm a son of a butcher. I used to get the pig right from the farm. I used to get I used to get wholesale.
Privilege.
Hey,
Right.
hey, look,
Well,
if my white privilege got me free pork as a youth, I am happy. My whiteness got me fed.
I will say I'm just gonna end it with if our Black men and our Black children and our Black people keep getting killed in the streets for no reason, I feel something brewing. Yeah. Because Black people is tired.
Right.
We're tired, we're stronger now. And we don't have a whole lot of resources, but we do got some resources. So that's all I'm gonna say. I feel something brewing, something very ugly brewing if things continue to happen like that. And I'm gonna just end with that.
Yeah, and that leaves me to think that since it's continuing, do they even want to be forgiven? You know, do we want to? Does America want to be forgiven for the sins if you keep committing sin? It's like the abusive man or woman that says, "Oh, I beat you last night, but I promise I'm not going to beat you again." And then the next day somebody dies. It's ridiculous. There's no resolve. So, yeah, you know, you can't forgive somebody who is actively showing you they don't necessarily care about your forgiveness.
Yeah, it's pretty reminiscent of that scene in What's Love Got to Do with It, when Ike and Tina are at the pool. And after he abuses her, and then he comes in either the next day or later with like a real big gift for her, and then walks out of the room. I don't believe I just compared America to Ike Turner.
Look, I'm like,
I didn't think about this all the way through, but yeah, it works, unfortunately. So yeah, eventually, okay, I guess what I'm trying to get to is eventually Black people, Tina Turner, left and did their own thing. So we need to follow the example of Tina Turner, is what I'm saying.
Right. Agreed. And maybe you don't have to worry about forgiveness then.
Like I said, in America, we about to be Tina. We're gonna fight back and we're gonna leave and
win.
And win.
So let me pose one final question. Jay, when you brought up how the police unit was formed as Slave Watch, and with what's going on today in the world, and with the movement of defunding the police and blah blah blah, do you think if America said, you know what, because of the history of policing in the United States, do you think if, for a lack of a better phrasing, tore down the complete police system and started that over from scratch because of the history of how it started, do you think that would be a good start? Or do you think that's something that could even happen? Or what?
I think tearing down police departments is probably the quickest way to chaos, because I'm not gonna be foolish enough to say we gonna act right. Everybody gonna act right if the police are gone and torn down. So yeah, that's where your chaos, your civil war.
Not so much. Hold on, sorry to interrupt. Not to torn down so much, and there'd be no police force. Just start it completely over.
Okay, so as in on Monday, you guys are gone, but this new crop comes in, and we're going by this rule system. You're saying,
in a simplistic form, yes.
Okay. I think it begins to address a lot of the street level issues, the way that our communities are policed, the inordinate amount of Black people who seem to have fatal accidents around several police. I think if you're not afraid of being abused by the people who are set there to keep laws in check, that's a big start. It's not the answer, but it would be great if a police officer could ride behind me for 4 blocks and I'm not terrified.
I would agree with that.
That would be great.
Or how about this? It would be great if my daughter called me because her and her boyfriend were fighting. And I called the police and I was like, can you just go over there? Like, they're fighting. I don't know what's going on. And I didn't have to feel bad because me calling the police killed that little boy in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Because that just happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
do you think?
I calling, just trying to protect my daughter. Like, I don't know what's going on. Can you just go check it out? And now I somehow feel responsible because I knew it was a little Black boy. And I probably in the back of my mind was like, I probably shouldn't call the police, but I don't know what's going on. And I just need to make sure my daughter is safe.
Or that I'm a business owner and this person may have passed me a fake 20 and I called you and your reaction is not to kneel on his neck for almost 10 minutes.
Absolutely.
And I was about to ask you about that officer, with him being sentenced to jail for what he did. Do you think that is, do you feel like that gives a little positivity that things are changing? Like that police officers are going to have to pay for their actions?
I am going to have to go ahead and move on over to the pessimistic side here, team pessimism, and call him a sacrificial lamb. One monkey don't stop no show. All those great cliches. I am pleased that he was put where he needs to be, but I would not be surprised if we saw a Bill Cosby level incident and he was released in a week or something like that. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I would say that doesn't surprise me. It would not surprise me. But what would surprise me if we started holding officers responsible for their acts in the street. If they commit an illegal act, if they murder somebody behind the guise of their badge, being officers, if those things stopped and if we started punishing, that would surprise me. That would change things. But one singular case study, that doesn't have me convinced that change is coming. Let me see 5 first, then let's have a conversation. Let me see 20, then let's have a conversation. But 1, I'm not there yet.
Yeah, well, everything has to start somewhere.
Right.
And if 2 years ago, did you ever think that a police officer would be thrown in jail for killing a Black man in the street?
I didn't think they were actually going to do it. I was shocked that they even gave him a sentence. I honestly was.
And you know what?
I think it wasn't going to happen.
I would venture to say that 99% of America thought the same.
I'm going to jump on Jay's team and say he was a sacrificial lamb.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was jumping on your team. I'm on your
okay.
team.
Well, thank you for
You
jumping
run
on
the
my
team.
team. So I'm gonna let you know. Yeah, he was a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And Jay, you know, let me see 5. Let me see where this goes. I think, we're all sick of, even people in the white community are sick of police officers being able to hide behind their badges and their unions because of shit they did illegally. whether it's to, no matter who they did it to, no matter what the circumstance was, whether it's killing somebody, whether it's robbing somebody, they shouldn't be able to hide behind their badge. And I think, incidents like this, with dude being sentenced to jail and spending time in jail, and, again, being hopeful, I'm hoping that in 10 years we have, and we have more police officers in jail for the illegal shit that they did, because we all know if we did that illegal shit, we would be in jail in a heartbeat.
Yeah. I would like to start with the upcoming trials of his cohorts. If we can see similar results there, that makes me a little bit more optimistic. But just, Chauvin himself, Chauvin, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't. That's not my turning point. That's not where I say.
Look,
well, it's
we're
all
definitely
gonna
not
change now.
Right.
It's definitely not going to turn on one incident, and you said it right with the next two police officers. I think this is, I'm hoping, I'm praying, I think this is a small victory. It's definitely not going to circle back. It's definitely not going to heal the sins, but the scar may close up a little more with this. It may be more optimistic. I think it's definitely setting, the future in a better trajectory than it was 3-4 years ago. So will the sins of America ever be forgiven? We don't know. We truly don't know. Hopeful that it will. I am. Some don't think it'll ever happen. I think the only way it really truly happen is if America falls and it gets rebuilt by all of us, every single person, get together like United Colors of Benetton and be like, yo, this is best for my people. This is best for my people. Okay, great. That's best for yours. Let's all come together and what is best for all of us. Not best for this one color, and the one color is going to oversee everyone and make decisions for you. And no, screw that. Come together. Not going to happen anytime in our lifetime, but I stay optimistic about it that my children's children will not be experiencing the same shit that we experience.
We are definitely
in my
ready.
lifetime.
Go
ahead, Simone.
I was just gonna say we are definitely ready to stop being oppressed and racially profiled and rated and all that. But we're ready. just don't know if the world is ready.
And New York City recently started making some steps towards helping some of our people forgive the sins of America, at least of New York City, by removing qualified immunity for police officers, meaning that they are no longer protected against civil lawsuits against wrongdoing. So they're making some steps. I still am pessimistic that it will happen overall, but I just wanted to mention that.
And that's a huge step. I was just going to say something silly. I was going to say, listen, in my lifetime, I never thought I'd see an R&B singer like Drake become the hardest rapper alive. So I tend to think anything is possible. And that gives me hope. Drake gives me hope. That's what I want to say on that.
Look, I was with you, Jay, all the way up until now. Thank you for coming on the show.
Dude, Jay, I'm never going to let you live that down.
God bless, good night.
I'm going to get that put on a t-shirt for you. Drake gives me hope.
I'll wear it.
I know you would. Your t-shirt collection needs a few new ones. I'm sick of seeing Red Fox on your
You know,
chest.
my
Red Fox?
you know, my wife actually made me throw away a couple of my t-shirts. I'm really that's another subject.
Good for her. Good for her. Those things are nasty.
Man, it's great t-shirts. You don't know collection.
I thank you guys for the conversation. Thank you for this topic, Alex.
Yeah,
And
absolutely,
thank
man.
you for coming on.
Yeah,
And
Jay.
Jay, thank you for all your content and humor.
Of course. Thank you all for allowing me to even come on. I really appreciated it. I am going back to bed, but I really appreciated it. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you later. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
You.
All right, y'all.
Alex is so
you have
silly.
to do the outro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Remel, do it. Do your outro, Remel.
No, you hosted this show.
I just love hearing your voice. It's so sweet.
Funny.
All right, y'all. So thank you so much for everyone tuning in today. We had an amazing conversation. We just want to thank my good friend and the guest we had, Jay Davis, Remel, Simone, as always. Always amazing conversations we have. Great topics. And I love the fact that we can touch on topics that are sensitive.
Mhm.
Yet we can have a discussion that we all feel like is moving forward.
Absolutely.
So I
Absolutely.
think this was an amazing subject, and there's going to be little subjects that veer off from this conversation. So I'm looking forward to see where it's going. Everyone, thank you so much for listening to us. Tune in next week to see what crazy things Remel is going to say.
I'm gonna get you off camera. Thank you for listening to Shit Your Mama Should Have Told You and More. I'm Remel. That crazy man was Alex, and this is
Simone.
all right.